unfortunately, we give one up on a turnover, leads to a 2-on-1, and then they score a power play goal, and we got away from what we do well that game. And the 5-2 score really isn't indicative of what the score was. It was a 1-goal game. We gave up 2 empty netters trying to get our way back into it, but um, we need to play with more consistency, and that's been the message. There's no panic here. We're 27 games into a 62 game season. If I'm panicking, I'm not doing my job. It's, anytime we lose, it's an opportunity to address some mistakes we made, learn from them, and get better. And this situation this weekend is a perfect example of that.
Was that first goal on Friday in Sioux City the closest you've been to that famous, Rocky coming out of the ice moment, or how close do you think that goes on that meter?
No, no, no. I was frustrated, but I'll be honest with you, the way some things have gone with some calls and the officiating, they've beat me down a little bit this year, and you don't get that. I don't get that reaction anymore because I'm kind of used to it, and I hate to say that, like, it's a developmental league for the players and it's a developmental league for the officials, but um, you just expect a little bit of consistency, and guys are going to make mistakes. There's no question about that, but those are major mistakes that impact the all outcome of games, and that's what's frustrating there. But when he told me that he was going to count it after emphatically waving it off, I was more shocked than anything because the referee that night is actually one of the guys I hold in most high regard in the league. I think he's one of the very best referees that we have, and so I think he made a mistake to kind of trust his two partners in that situation. Which, hey, you have to trust your team on the ice, and those guys were confident that he had made the wrong call. He went with them, and ultimately it was incorrect. But nothing we can do about it. We need to make sure that we're not in a situation where we're in a 1-goal game. We had opportunities to score in that game. We've got to take advantage of them.
And isn't that a good response from you though? Because if you blow up in that game that early in that situation, it could distract from your teammates. You always hear, or your players, because you always hear emotion is great and all that stuff is awesome on the bench, but you have to know that you can't just be that way 24/7, or else the guys probably won't respond to it.
You really need to keep that in your pocket until you need it. And it could go one of two ways. It can really get your bench fired up, or it can get them to lose focus. And so, I think I know when it's time to pull that out and when it's time to kind of stay reserved. And there's been times when I've used it to kind of get a call, or used it to get the bench up. And but you can't go to that well too often, or else it becomes stale. And that's how you coach your players too. If I'm constantly yelling at them and at the top of my lungs, then you don't get the same response, as opposed to if it comes out every once in a while. It's kind of like if I just have to raise my voice slightly to my daughter, just to let her know I'm serious. And I think the guys know too. If I raise my voice to them, I'm not happy with what's going on, and it kind of snaps them back into to focus.
And what about assistant coach George Lewis? Has there ever been a moment where he's kind of popped off? He's told me that he's reserved, and you have a great relationship with him going back to Amarillo, but have you ever seen him kind of lose his cool on the bench?
George is the most steady, reserved person that I know. He's very analytical. He's very fact based. He's constantly looking at things in a much different way than I do. Emotions are not a part of his focus when it comes to what he's doing on the bench, and I think that's why he and I coach so well together, because I can bring some emotion and some energy, and he keeps things very level headed. And there's been times when in Amarillo, it hasn't happened this year, but in Amarillo, he's like, "Hey, calm down," and I'm like, "Hey, shut up, get away from me." Now's not a time for me to be calm. And we laugh about it afterwards, obviously. But no, I think you need guys around you that compliment you, number one, and do things really well that maybe are part of your shortcomings as a coach. And I certainly know I'm far from perfect. And there's certain things that I do well that George needs to continue to grow and build on with his coaching resume. and there's things that George is just absolutely excellent at that, he does a great job of making me look good a lot of times. And Art
And
too,
that's
obviously, Art too. I don't wanna leave Art out of this because although Art and I don't have the same, long-term relationship, I've had a great experience working with Art in the last 5 months, and he brings a very different perspective. He's recently retired as a player, college hockey player, USHL player, goaltender, and he's done an amazing job with our goalies to this point, but he also brings a lot to the table when it comes to just coaching the team.
And he also cuts highlights and video throughout the game. He offers you that perspective in the intermissions, and then comes onto the bench usually for the third period. How have you liked that relationship with Art? Because he has that, bird's eye view next to me sometimes at the ice box, being able to break down those systems and structures in a way that maybe you and George can't see in real time when it happens.
Well, we've always had the luxury of having the video during the intermission, but obviously it's a short time frame, and so we're not going to be able to sit there and go through everything. So, I usually have one or two things that I want to be able to discuss with the team right away, or something that I want George to go look at right away. But Art brings that bird's eye view where he can say, "Hey, these are the two or three things that I don't think we're doing well right now," and I think it's a great ability for us to have that view from up top, also have the video prepared for us right away. So, we can go back and we can look at the opponent power play right away in the intermission and make some adjustments. Same thing with our own video. And then Art can be like, hey, this is what they're doing. This is how they're breaking our forecheck, or this is where we can exploit them a little bit. And then he'll pop some video up on the TV. We can take a peek at it and we can make some adjustments quick. So obviously, we're making adjustments throughout the course of a period, but those major changes are happening during intermission, and we have video to coincide with it, and obviously Art's perspective, which is really, really valuable to us.
And you come up against a Sioux Falls team you just saw last Saturday. Are you sick of seeing the Stampede? I think it's the sixth or seventh meeting you'll have with them on Friday at Denny Sanford Premier Center.
No, I coached in the North American League for 12 years, where you play everybody 12 or 16 times a year. So we play them next or this weekend, and then one more time, and we're done with them for the year. So um, I'm looking forward to beating them on Friday. I will tell you that. I've got a chip on my shoulder because we pounded them on that Friday before Christmas, and then kind of mailed it in on Saturday. I think the guys were already looking forward to Santa Claus coming to their hometowns, and then Saturday this past weekend we didn't have a great effort, and I certainly respect their team and what they're capable of, but it's on us to focus on what we do well. And we talked about that in the press conference today. It's less about our opponent and more about us at this time of year, and what we can do to continue to get better.
You're listening to Outside the Box. Call us, text us 402-464-5685. We're still waiting for that first call, Rocky. I don't know if we need to get your wife to call in and ask a couple of questions to make it a whole segment, but we need someone, because I know we got listeners. They have people texting us. We're giving away 4 packs every week. We'll give you that trivia question in just a couple minutes. But yeah, we're dying to hear from someone, aren't we?
We'd love to have somebody call in. I when I did radio in Amarillo, we got a lot of fans calling in and talking and asking questions, and what I loved about that, it was a different perspective. It kind of changed the course of our conversation at times, and opened it up to some different topics that maybe we weren't focused on at the time, but veered us right off into something new. And I love that because it was off the cuff, and I think we were really preparing for this thing for the first couple weeks, and now it's a little bit different. We're much more comfortable with each other on air here, and we can kind of just let the conversation flow. And that's what I enjoy about doing a program like this is, we can talk about hockey. Obviously, that's our focus, but I'm sure we're gonna get to the Georgia Alabama game a little
Yeah.
bit at some point tonight. I'm sure we're gonna get to a number of other things, and I really I enjoy that part of it.
Just no basketball. Never again.
College basketball, sure. I mean, just so everybody knows, we're just about at the first half of this Nebraska men's basketball game against your Illini, 34-31 now. Nebraska just made a free throw heading into halftime, 3-point lead for the Cornhuskers.
Not good enough. I think the line was 11.5 or 12.5. So the line, I got to pump those numbers up. And speaking of that college football national championship, did you have a dog in the fight being a Buckeyes fan? Nick Saban going up against, the Bulldogs. What was that like for you? Did you watch the game? Where'd you watch it at?
I watched the game. Yeah, I'm a college football fan, so I watched the game. Um, I have an immense amount of respect for what Nick Saban has done at Alabama. And do I feel like he plays with a loaded deck every year? Yes. Do I feel like they have managed to, college football has become slightly corrupt in the sense that the best are the best and then there's the rest. And it's really, really hard. Cincinnati got in there this year, but they really probably shouldn't have been as good as they were. Um, what you're looking at is 4, 5, 6 teams that compete for a championship every year, and then everybody else. And I read an article last night about how the representative from the SEC was the one pushing for the playoff expansion, and the ACC is the one that is shutting it down. And I couldn't believe that because outside of the run that Clemson had, like, the ACC does not perennially have a team that year in and year out is competing for a national championship. And that goes back to the BCS days too, quite frankly. You had a run with Florida State there with Jimbo Fisher for a while, but nothing consistent like the SEC has had, or even the Big Ten. And so what I watched last night was a team rise up with an unbelievable defense and a front seven and a bit of a Cinderella story with a quarterback there in Georgia, and find a way to slay the Goliath. And I think it's cool to see somebody else win. From a purely Buckeye standpoint, like, if Alabama wins, then it's just okay. Alabama won another year, and there's not another fan base yapping about how good they are. But Georgia now is going to be in that conversation, talking about how they're elite, just like LSU did, and they won a championship a couple years ago and fell off. It'll be really interesting to see if Georgia can maintain it. And Kirby Smart's done a good job there, but they've never been able to get over the hump. They got over the hump this year. LSU did that a couple years ago with Joe Burrow. Are they able to roll it back again for 3, 4, 5, 6 years? And then, the bigger picture is Dabo Swinney and Clemson able to get his group back and become one of those perennial contenders. Does somebody else hop up? Is that team up north able to do it again next year, or does Jim Harbaugh leave for a job in the NFL? Like, there's so many cool stories about college football, and I would love to see an expanded playoff
Mhm.
because it would have been really cool to see Ohio State, Utah in a game that truly, truly mattered. The Rose Bowl used to matter, and it did matter. It was great, but if it really mattered, Chris Olave and Garrett Wilson would have been playing, and they're missing some big guns out of that game. And if they're still in the mix for a national championship, those guys are playing. And I think that's what makes the playoff expansion such an intriguing thing for everybody, and keeps the best players on the field longer, which is what we as college football fans want to see.
One last question before break, Rocky. What's that perfect number then of teams do you think for that expansion?
You know what? They're talking about 12. If you're doing 12 with buys, and the top 4 get a buy, then I think that would be cool. If not, and it's 8, I'd be okay with that. But 12 with 4 buys probably makes the most sense. It's hard to add 3 games to this, right?
Mm.
Like, now when you look at it, they're playing a semifinal essentially, and then a final. So if you went 8-4-2, it would be 1 additional game, which wouldn't be too bad. We as college football fans would love that. Like, give me more football.
Mhm.
And let's be honest, we talk about the education side of this, but we only talk about it when it's convenient, right? And I think that's funny. You have fans that talk about how the student athletes should be paid and this and that, and then when it comes time to talk about an extra game, it's, oh, well, it's taxing on their bodies and it's taking them away from the classroom and this and that and everything else. Well, I think they need to make up their mind. Like, is one more game and 2 more weeks really, really going to make a difference when it comes to what these kids are doing in the classroom when they have all of the resources that they have as big time student athletes at elite universities?
We'll be back with more Outside the Box after this on 93.7 The Ticket.
My name is Rebecca. I struggled with depression for years. I also smoked. That was my world. Finally, I realized that smoking wasn't helping me. It was making my life worse. So I took control and I quit. Now I'm able to run again and take walks with my grandkids. My tip is there's another world out there, and it's a beautiful place to be.
Call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
I'm Jetty Benson, president of the NSEA, and I'm asking for your help. We know the best learning for our kids happens when they are in classrooms, in person, with their classmates and teachers. To help keep our public schools open for in-person learning, please follow health and safety guidelines from medical experts. Working together, our students continue to learn, grow, and thrive.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association in this station.
Gaina Trucking is hiring CDL Class A and B drivers. Gaina Trucking guarantees a 40-hour work week year-round, and their strong team culture makes it not a job, but a career. Gaina Trucking offers health, vision, and dental insurance, 401k with company match, an employee assistance program, and other bonus programs. Build a better career today with great team culture at Gaina Trucking. Learn more and apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
A lot of work goes into making Nebraska, Nebraska. Keeping it green. Helping it thrive. Making it fun. Everything that goes into caring for our outdoors, from waters to wildlife, plays a big role in making Nebraska home. Learn how we help conserve our state's natural resources at OutdoorNebraska.org.
Paid for by Nebraska Game and Parks. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
In every office, there's 2 types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe.
At first, I was really nervous and intimidated to buy a ring. I wasn't sure what I was getting into.
My experience at Starter Heyman was very easy. I felt like I walked out of Starter Heyman with the ring that was going to make her go wow and say yes.
I love my ring. It is so beautiful.
I absolutely love my ring. I get compliments on it all the time. I always tell them Starter Heyman.
Yeah, we would definitely recommend Starter Heyman.
Yeah, it was great.
We're definitely coming back.
Sure. Sauter Heyman Jewelers, Lincoln and Grand Island. SauterHeyman.com.
Now what do? Football is over. The weather's crappy. Man, I tell you what, it's a perfect time to go car shopping. This is Carl from Price Right Auto. Come out to Price Right in Westo and you'll find over 100 great vehicles at some great prices. With our non-commissioned sales process, we let you control the sale. We won't let you get a lemon since we back every one of our vehicles with our peace of mind 3-month warranty. If you want a hassle-free car buying experience, check out our website, PriceRightAuto.com. Come see a great selection of affordable used cars on Westo Street at Price Right Auto.
At Buffalo Wings and Rings, they've crafted a new league of superior chicken sandwiches. Meet the Ringers. It's premium, house-made, beer-battered, fried chicken served buffalo, Korean, or MVP style. Head to Buffalo Wings and Rings Lincoln and raise a glass to superior chicken. 2 locations at 68th and O and at 40th and Old Cheney. Buffalo Wings and Rings.
Hey, Steve. Welcome to Great Clips.
Great Clips asks, what's the difference between good and great?
Come on back and have a seat.
Good asks you what haircut you'd like.
I have all your details from last time. Would you like the same haircut today?
Great already knows. With Clip Notes, we save your haircut details so you can get the same thing as last time, every time. Download our online check-in app today. Great Clips. It's gonna be great.
Outside the Box with Lincoln Stars head coach Rocky Russo and Stars broadcaster Cristiano Simonetta on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
And we are back with Outside the Box. I'm Cristiano Simonetta, joined alongside by Stars head coach Rocky Russo. Two guests for us this week, Rocky. It's Doug Grimes and Patrick Raftery. Dougie, even the name that I see, because I'm calling today's show from the comfort of my apartment, even says Dougie Grimes. So, Doug, do we have to, change your name on the USHL site to Dougie, or what's going on here?
Oh, I'm called multiple names all around. My family calls me Douglas. Childhood friends call me Doug, and then kind of in the hockey world, it's mostly been Dougie. So I don't really know what to call myself when I meet people often.
I will now be calling you Douglas, much like I call Mastro Michael, just because it frustrates him, and he just wants to be called Mastro, and so I always call him Michael. So you are officially Douglas.
I shouldn't have let that one go.
Patrick and Douglas joining us here tonight, Cristiano.
Yes, and what team did Douglas Grimes score his first USHL goal against? That is this week's trivia question. Text us, call us with the answer, 402-464-5685. What team did Doug Grimes score his first USHL goal against? The winner will receive a 4-pack of tickets to Crossover Night on Friday, January 21st, as the Stars take on Waterloo. Douglas, as it's now properly changed on the stream here, and Patrick, how are you guys doing? Thanks for joining the show.
Great, thanks for having us.
Doing well, thank you.
Rocky, you have the pleasure of being in studio with these guys. You've coached these guys, Patrick, all season long. Dougie coming in here over the last couple of weeks. What's it been like coaching the 17-year-old and Raft, and Dougie, who's been around a little bit in the USHL?
Obviously, I've got a bigger sample size here with Raf, and he's a guy that came into camp, and I knew of him as a player, but wasn't really sure where or if he fit in with our group this year, and he made quite an impression on me during main camp. And the more we watched him, the more I liked his game, and felt like he was going to be able to contribute to us this year, and he's done that. He's continuing to grow as a player. Whenever you're first getting your feet wet in the USHL, it takes time to get comfortable, and that 20 to 30 game mark is when you see guys start to turn the corner, and we're seeing that with Raf. He's playing with more intent. He's playing confident. He's making more plays. He's doing a little bit more than just getting out there, chipping it in and chipping it out, and trying to make sure that he stays off the score sheet. Because when you're a young guy playing in the bottom six, you want to make sure that you don't mess up. And now there's a whole different level of confidence with him, and he's been able to contribute. He's made some really nice plays. He's generated some offense for us, and I think he's just scratching the surface of what he's capable of. And then Douglas over there, he's a guy that was on the USHL list for the Lincoln Stars last year.
Yes,
according to Billy Puglisi, in regards to the dispersal draft when Cedar Rapids was unable to play, and they weren't able to get their hands on him. He ended up in Sioux City, and then back to Cedar Rapids this year. And so when he became available, the chance to grab him and add not just a big body, but a good skater for his size, with good hockey IQ and a big time compete level. He scored a ton in prep school, and so looking forward for him to get some consistency to his game. And these two guys were two of the catalysts for our success on Saturday night.
Yeah, they had a great night on Saturday. Doug picked up 2 assists, his first points as a member of the Lincoln Stars. And that's been kind of the theme, right, guys? When you start to play in the Icebox, Doug, you played as a member of the visiting team, and now finally as a member of the home side. That rink, it just fueled off of, forecheck, cycling. You guys had everything going on Saturday night. I'll start with Raft. How did you feel in that game? You guys didn't get the result you wanted after 60 minutes, but you guys, along with Keaton Peters and Max Scott, also jumping on that line, certainly made an impression.
Yeah, no, I felt good out there with them. I feel like we trusted each other that whole game, and we got the work down low, and we created chances, and I felt good out there with them, and it was a good game for us. But unfortunately, we didn't get the result we wanted, and that's what matters at the end of the day. So.
And then Dougie, same to you. I mean, I just mentioned you've been in this building when I believe you were at the game when Gleb Beremyev took a couple runs at your buddy Nikita Krivokrasov in Sioux City. What a fight at center ice that was. You heard the crowd on our side at the time. Now it's your side when you get those 2 big assists. How was that like hearing the crowd chanting and cheering for you guys at that point?
Yeah, I mean, last year it definitely wasn't a cheer I wanted to hear. But I mean, yeah, now this year being here, it's awesome. I mean, if anything, you're just a little jealous when you're in the rink as a visitor that this rink gets so loud, and being out there for the first goal of the game there, and it was just the arena erupted, and it was awesome. I mean, just kind of gets you going, gets you excited, and makes you want to keep that going. And so, I mean, it was awesome.
And you guys live together off the ice. What's that been like? We had Carter Shade and Cameron Whitehead on last week, and I asked them to, say something they didn't really like about each other, something, that gets underneath the other's skin, but they were the perfect housemates and roommates. I know it's only been a couple of weeks here, but how have you guys liked living together with the Bansets?
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. It's nice having someone else at the house with me. So we have a lot of fun together. We play games together. We watch games together, like NFL games, NBA games, NHL games. So we're constantly together, having fun, talking, getting to know each other more. So it's been a fun couple weeks.
Cristiano, did I just hear these guys are watching NBA games?
Okay, got to kick them off the show, guys. It was great having you.
Get out of here.
What's your guys'
it's mostly NHL. Don't worry.
It's mostly NHL. Yeah.
And you guys play NHL, and Raph found out the hard way what it's like when playing against me. You knew this was going to come up. But who's the better video game player out of the both of you guys?
Me by far.
I have his name in NHL.
No, I have his number in Madden. It's not
actually
even a competition
right before we
anymore
came here, though. I beat him in a Madden game.
First
so
time.
I don't know if that still stands.
I love that. I miss the days of playing Madden and NHL. Are you guys playing Tiger Woods too? Is that still a thing?
The game gets kind of boring pretty quickly.
Oh no, I
Really?
lived for Tiger Woods when I was in college.
Well, we have like a new game. It's maybe like a PGA game. And
after Tiger had his little run in, and
you kind of flick you flick the stick back and flick it forward, and then it shoots, and that's kind of it. Like there's not much excitement to it.
Elite early to mid 2000s Tiger Woods on the Xbox was like nothing else. My roommate and I spent hours playing Tiger Woods and loved every second of it.
The Nintendo Wii version was my favorite because that actually you had to have some skill with your backswing there.
Yeah.
But yeah, just flicking up a button. They made it a little too easy these days. But yeah, Rocky, going back to those days, were you a big video game guy? What was your favorite one to play?
No, I wasn't a big video game guy. I mean, I go all the way back to Atari, guys. So I'm a little bit different than you guys, but we were literally playing Super Nintendo when I started in college, and by the end it was a PlayStation and a PlayStation 2, and then an Xbox 360. And it was the sports games. It was Madden, for sure. It was NHL. It was Tiger Woods. It was FIFA. Like those were the games that we got into when I was a kid.
Just never NBA.
No. I will say, like NBA Jam was the bomb back then.
Oh yeah.
But that was also the generation of the NBA that I liked, right? So I was all about playing NBA basketball video games back then, and I probably wouldn't be very interested in it now.
What team are you guys rooting for on Monday in the national championship then?
I wanted Georgia.
Yeah, I was cheering for Georgia.
Is that just because you were going for the underdog?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, Alabama's won too many times, and I don't know. They always have. I mean, not that Georgia doesn't have the best players, but Alabama always has the top dogs, and I don't know. So they always win.
Always more fun cheering for the underdog.
Tell us a little bit about your obviously your hockey players. How about your NHL affiliation? What teams are you rooting for?
Oh, Bruins by far. Bruins 100%.
I'm a Bruins and Avs fan.
How do you have two? How do you
even do that?
Yeah, what?
I'm born in Colorado, so Avs fan, but my whole family's from Boston. We go to Boston every year. I love Boston.
All right.
So
Okay.
I think you got to pick one.
You know what? I'll give him the benefit of the doubt because of that. I'm a Penguins fan, so I can't in good conscience root for the Bruins, obviously. But I have some respect for some of the guys that go and have gone through the Bruins organization. The Avalanche deal, like, you know, when I was younger, watching the Avalanche Red Wings rivalry was unbelievable, right? And those guys just used to beat the crap out of each other. Plus, it was unbelievable hockey on top of it. So those games were just so fun to watch. And now you're kind of getting a reincarnation of the Avs. They haven't been able to kind of get over the hump yet, but the talent that they have there is pretty special. Cal McCarr is arguably the best defenseman in the world offensively right now. And so it's really fun to watch that young group play there. I'm interested to see if they're able to take the next step, similar to the conversation we had a week or two ago about the Edmonton Oilers, right? Cristiano, and whether, you know, we feel that group can take the next step and actually be effective in the playoffs and make a run at a Stanley Cup. I'd love to see whether the Avs can really do it or not, because they've come into the last two seasons as like favorite, right? Yeah. And have not been able to really get it going. And obviously one was that bubble season or whatever you want to call it there. And then, you know, last year was still affected by COVID. Here we are again, year 3, still affected by COVID. But, you know, it'll be interesting to see how they get going in the playoffs.
Well, just to mention the Edmonton Oilers, the rumblings throughout the league today is that Evander Kane is joining that team.
Yeah, that's a perfect way to destroy your organization. Like, I mean, come on, man. Come on. Like, you got a great young group there. You got some probably some pretty good young leaders. And, you know, Evander Kane's a good hockey player. And, you know, I don't want to sit here as an outsider and judge him, but, you know, if it walks like a duck and it talks like a duck and it's got webbed feet, it's probably a bad teammate. And so, you know, I would probably keep that guy as far away from my locker room as I possibly could.
And similar, like, not, you know, exactly similar, but the Antonio Brown situation, it's like the same thing. And he goes on, you know, a podcast and badmouths Tom Brady, and he's talking about how Gronk got more money than him. That stuff you just can't have in any sport to break that type of team chemistry. And that'll be interesting to see.
Antonio Brown cannot help himself. And he played the victim there after that debacle of a display in the game last week. And, you know, you're kind of like the boy that cried wolf. Like, everybody on social media was like, oh, if this is true. Well, I don't believe it for a second. I just don't. Like, I think Bruce Arians, like, he had a relationship with him, right? Going back to his time in Pittsburgh, and Tom Brady stood up for him, brought him in there. Those guys treated him with respect. And for him to do that, it just shows the type of character that he has. And I think the Bucks are better off without him, and they're a Super Bowl contender. And the last thing you need is a guy that's going to be a big distraction come the playoffs.
And speaking of Tom Brady, Dougie, a 34-minute drive from your hometown to Gillette Stadium. So are you a New England Patriots fan?
Definitely.
There we go. We got 2 on the show right now, myself.
Tougher go the past 2 years, but Mac Jones has looked pretty good. I think with some experience, I think he could be a pretty good QB down the road. But yeah, I mean, that was definitely a fun couple of years. Some of those Super Bowls were insane, and it's just fun to be behind a team that's so successful like that. Obviously, we don't have many people out, especially this way, that like us. But we'll keep going.
Well, it's that underdog mentality you just talked about. Everybody wants to root against the powerhouse, against the dynasty. So when the Patriots fell against the Titans in the divisional round, Brady's last game, and now we see them up against the Bills next week in Buffalo. It's going to be pretty crazy. But that'll take us to break. We'll be back with more. Dougie, Patrick, and Rocky. This is Outside the Box. We'll see you in a bit.
Tune in to the Teammates Mentoring Hour each Wednesday from 6 to 7 p.m. on 93.7 The Ticket. Hear stories from the program started by Tom and Nancy Osborne and how it's changed mentors and mentees' lives and how you can be involved. The Teammates Mentoring Hour, Wednesday nights from 6 to 7 o'clock on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
At Buffalo Wings and Rings, they've crafted a new league of superior chicken sandwiches. Meet the Ringers. It's premium, house-made, beer-battered, fried chicken served buffalo, Korean, or MVP style. Head to Buffalo Wings and Rings Lincoln and raise a glass to superior chicken. 2 locations at 68th and O and at 40th and Old Cheney. Buffalo Wings and Rings.
A lot of work goes into making Nebraska, Nebraska. Keeping it green. Helping it thrive. Making it fun. Everything that goes into caring for our outdoors, from waters to wildlife, plays a big role in making Nebraska home. Learn how we help conserve our state's natural resources at outdoornebraska.org.
Paid for by Nebraska Game and Parks. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Hey, Steve. Welcome to Great Clips.
Great Clips asks, what's the difference between good and great?
Come on back and have a seat.
Good asks you what haircut you'd like.
I have all your details from last time. Would you like the same haircut today?
Great already knows. With Clip Notes, we save your haircut details so you can get the same thing as last time, every time. Download our online check-in app today. Great Clips. It's going to be great.
At first, I was really nervous and intimidated to buy a ring. I wasn't sure what I was getting into.
My experience at Starter Heyman was very easy. I felt like I walked out of Starter Heyman with the ring that was going to make her go wow and say yes.
I love my ring. It is so beautiful.
I absolutely love my ring. I get compliments on it all the time. I always tell them Starter Heyman.
Yeah, we would definitely recommend Starter Heyman.
Yeah, it was great.
We're definitely coming back.
Sure.
Sauter Heyman Jewelers, Lincoln and Grand Island. SauterHeyman.com.
In every office, there's 2 types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels and Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday. You lost Wednesday. You're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels and Joe.
I'm Jetty Benson, president of the NSEA, and I'm asking for your help. We know the best learning for our kids happens when they are in classrooms, in person, with their classmates and teachers. To help keep our public schools open for in-person learning, please follow health and safety guidelines from medical experts. Working together, our students continue to learn, grow, and thrive.
Sponsored by the Nebraska State Education Association, aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Back to Outside the Box with Rocky Russo and Cristiano Simonetta on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
You got to pump it up, don't you know? Pump it up. You got to pump it up, don't you know? Pump it up.
And we are back outside the box. It is January 11th. I'm Cristiano Simonetta, joined alongside Stars head coach Rocky Russo, Stars forwards Doug Grimes and Patrick Raftery, and we have a winner for the trivia question of the week. Who was the team that Doug scored his first USHL goal against? Raph, do you have a guess here? Did you guys talk about it during the break, maybe? What?
I have no idea.
You don't even know.
It's got to be a West team.
There you go.
It's in Sioux City.
Look at those instincts.
Was it Tri-City?
No.
Rocky, any guesses?
I will guess Fargo.
I think that's right.
You don't even
know?
know?
That is correct.
Pretty sure. Yeah, I know that.
That is
I did
correct.
not know that, by the way. That was an absolute guess.
So, Rocky, you have just won 4 tickets. No, the real winner is 402-310. I'm not going to reveal the last couple of numbers. We need a name here that just texted in. No name given. I'm going to shoot you a text tomorrow from my cell number. You're going to need to give us your name and some information so we can get you that 4-pack to January 21st crossover night against Waterloo. Doug, did you remember?
Unbelievable night, by the way, that crossover night with all the what do we have, 9 or 10 Nebraska athletes joining us and Tom Osborne. Like, I'm just so excited about that. Our fans are going to have an unbelievable time. So winning a 4-pack to a game like that is a great great gift for whoever it was that texted in. So make sure you find who it was. I'd love to be able to meet them too, and hopefully they enjoy that game.
Yeah, some football players, some baseball players. Bowling is so huge here in this city. A couple national champions will be coming to that game. You guys any good at bowling? We're going to shoot a video this week where we're going to need to call on some guys. Cameron Whitehead is a guy who said he's
I was
wanted
going
to
to
challenge.
say, Whitey says he's the real deal on the bowling alley.
There's no way.
I hadn't bowled in like, I don't know, 6 years. We used to go around Christmas time. So when I was home, I went first round was brutal, like gutter every other shot. Then I found my rhythm, found my stroke, and I wasn't bad. I think I shot 125 or something.
So no, you're not good.
So yeah, pretty bad.
So I
found
just
some rhythm though.
Cristiano, let's make sure and make note of the fact that Raph just said there's no way that Whitey's a good bowler.
I just don't see it.
I don't know. I think he's a guy who can get dialed in across a lot of sports.
Whitey was like adamant about getting on the lanes with the Nebraska bowlers. So I don't think you do that unless you know that you can at least hang a little bit. So I'm interested and excited to see what Whitey's capable of.
Guys, is there a second sport, maybe not bowling, that you'd say, you know what, I think I can maybe have played this at a higher level, or just, you think you're good at it and pick up and stuff like that?
I played baseball.
Yeah, I played
till
baseball
I was
too.
like 13, and then I had to stop because of hockey. But I mean, I wasn't that good, but it was fun. Maybe I would have been a late groomer in that sport, but I had fun.
Groomer.
So interesting to me how sports have changed. And when I was a kid, I played baseball all summer. I played football, basketball, hockey in the winter. I played soccer for a number of years. Like when hockey season was over, I threw my bag in the garage and I went and I played baseball, like really ultra high competitive all summer long and into the fall. And now in the last, probably close to the last 10 years, I bet maybe 8 years in my experience, my athletes have been specialized from the time that they were in their early teens. Very, very few of them played multiple sports. And it's an interesting concept because either you're an athlete or you're a hockey player. And there's pros and cons to both of it. And some of these guys were able to spend year round really focusing on their game. But does that change your ability when it comes to being a well-rounded athlete? Does it matter? Does it not? It's definitely a curious thing that I've noticed has become pretty more regular lately.
And hockey is that sport that demands not only a lot, physically and stuff like that, but the amount of hours and the amount of traveling. My mom didn't want to do it because, I was the youngest of 3 boys and we played, like you said, we played baseball, we played basketball, played football, all that sort of stuff. I played lacrosse and golf in high school along with baseball. So for you guys, Patrick and Doug, was there a road trip that stood out when you were younger and you were like, wow, I'm really playing hockey with all my friends at this really cool spot?
I would say Quebec Pee Wee tournament, probably. That was kind of
Not a big deal.
That was kind of the eye opener for me, like, because that was the first exposure I had the billets, and that was kind of when I found out about junior hockey and that you billet with another family, and that was kind of when I started to decide that that's what I wanted to do. So that was kind of the changer of my career, I feel like, looking back on it.
I'd say I never went on any of those crazy tournaments like Patrick went to, but I'd say when I went to Chicago one time with my team a couple years in a row, and I always look forward to that one. And then Buffalo too. Buffalo was fun. There was a big tournament, outdoor rink, bunch of tons of teams exchanging pins and all that crazy stuff. And I was probably 12 at the time, so that was pretty fun for me. And that, I don't know, I guess it brought the teams together, trading pins and all that. So that was fun to be a part of. But
Rocky, what about you? Was there a favorite, even as a player and a coach? Is there something that's really, shocked you because hockey has just brought you to this crazy place or crazy event?
No, I mean, now as a coach, I've done been fortunate enough to do a lot of pretty cool things. I 9, 10 Robertson Cup tournaments, whatever it was in the North American Hockey League. But the best experience, the most interesting thing I ever was a part of was the World Junior Cup in Sochi in 2019, and I went as the associate coach with the U.S. team, and it was a team of North American League players, but we played. You played Red Bull and played a team from Finland and A2 Ratty's in the tournament. He's a 20th pick overall in last year's draft. The Lokomotiv team from Russia was unbelievable. I was about a foot and a half away from Vladimir Putin as he walked down the hallway. Well, Scott Langer and I were downstairs. It's ironic because Scott and I were the two coaches on that team, and now Scott's the head coach in Fargo, and I'm the head coach here in Lincoln, and so we've become pretty good friends since that tournament, and now we're coaching against each other again in the USHL. So that tournament was an incredible experience. Black Sea, Sochi, being able to see so many different things, just awesome.
And the guys will get set to go to Dallas, Texas in a couple of weeks, which should be a fun trip for the Frosty Cup. Doug, Patrick, thank you so much for joining the show this week.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you, guys.
Rocky, thanks as always.
Of course. And just so you know, guys, when we get down to Dallas, we're going to play in the rink in Frisco. That happens to be the rink that I won the 2013 Robertson Cup National Tournament in. So I've got some good memories from that.
There we go.
Maybe some transplants from Amarillo will make that trip too. All right, that'll do it for us this week, guys. We'll see you next Tuesday. You are listening to Outside the Box on 93.7 The Ticket.